Welcome to Dub Nation. It's great to be back. I am Jarom Jordan. He is Banksy. Banksy, it's been a minute. We renamed the show. It used to be called Warriors Cast. Now it's Dub Nation. That's as
Dub
in
Nation.
Warriors,
You know where we're at.
winning. Any other W you want to put in there that works? I'm stoked. We're back, baby.
It's so exciting to be back, to be talking about rugby, to be getting excited for the new season, for the great things that are happening at Warriors Nation. When I say great, trust me, I've seen the cheat sheet. I know what's coming up later on the show.
Let's talk about what is coming up. We're going to talk about how the fall select season is going. We're going to talk about the announcement that happened on Saturday. The 2021 roster is out, including amazing returners, some of which are on the selects team, and then 6 signees, 3 domestic, 3 international, several Eagles involved in this, some dudes from overseas, some dudes from the local area. It's going to be awesome. We will talk with the head coach, Chris Latham, the backs coach, Sean Davies, the forwards coach, Sean Pittman. We will talk with Paul Mullen, one of those big-time signings, Saia, Uhila, Bailey Wilson. It is a loaded show, baby. Let's get it on the road. So let's first off talk about what this team's going to look like in 2021 with the returning players. So let's start at tight head prop. Franco Vandenberg and Mike Payne return. These are 2 talented guys. Franco experienced, Mike Payne an up-and-comer.
You're talking about Mike Payne and a guy that probably learned a ton playing behind Angus and Franco. Franco, a guy that's set to be a capped Eagle. He's got another year of playing behind him before he's eligible for that Eagle squad. But a guy that's that caliber player that really could carry himself into an Eagles jersey.
Tuvere Vungakoto, a international Fijian player for the 15s, played in the World Cup, and Sama Malolo at hooker. These are 2 experienced guys.
You're talking about with 2, a guy that was a difference maker in his first set of games with the Warriors. I mean, such a steady, quiet guy in like that classic Fijian way, incredibly humble, doesn't say a whole lot, but a guy that really got in and did the hard work. We saw him off the back of the rolling maul several times in our shortened season, and a guy that is absolutely fearless when it comes to running the ball and a steady, stable presence at the set piece that we needed.
We mentioned the loose head. Let's get to the tight head. Angus McClellan, an Eagle, back. Alex Tucci. Elijah Hayes, one of those MLR draft picks as well.
You're going to talk about a guy that has all the potential in the world. In both Alex coming back off a big injury now, he's rehabbed that leg. He's looking as strong as he ever was. Alex always had a reputation for being a gym rat, but he's learned a lot playing behind Gus, and now you've got Elijah pushing him as well. That's another guy with a big physical presence, a guy that played, I believe, on the offensive line in college, D1 2A champion with Elijah playing football, a guy that can move bodies. So once he starts to get more minutes and starts playing behind these guys that can teach him the little nuances of the game and the dark arts of playing the front row, a guy that really could take off, man.
The dark arts.
Well, it is, because there's 3 people in a scrum that know what's going on. Okay, everybody else in the scrum just gets on their knees and pushes when the referee says set. Everybody else is clueless except for the tight head prop, the hooker, and the loose head prop. Those are the only 3 guys that know what's going on in a scrum. It's a mystery to everybody else.
Snape was in the front row. Who knew? The locks, Punavili, Matt Jensen, Saia, Uhila. And there are a couple of new signings that will fit in some of these spots as well, but we'll get to them.
These guys, the engine room of the Warriors forward pack. You're talking about guys that have played minutes for this club, and both of them may be looking at their potential 50th cap for the Utah Warriors. The first 50 cap Warrior could come from one of those type 5 guys. As a forward, you love to see it.
Okay, open side, blind side flanker, and 8-man. You have Lance Williams, Bailey Wilson, Thomas Tuaval, Yuri Van Vuren. That's a loaded group.
It's a stacked group. Yuri was a difference maker, making the move from his traditional second row where he played in South Africa to playing number 8 and being dynamic and being a vocal leader for the Warriors and being a stabilizing influence. And talk about a guy like Lance, who's also coming off of an injury to end the season, a guy that in his college football career, leading tackler at that University of Hawaii defense, an incredible athlete by anybody's standards. And now he's starting to get the minutes and the experience to put himself in a position to make really good plays. Bailey Wilson, I mean, you can't say enough good things about the kid. Good human being, but an even better probably rugby player if that's possible. A guy that's got a really high ceiling that is going to compete for a starting spot on this team. And I think we'll be surprised to see how many minutes he gets as we get deeper and deeper into a season.
Future Eagle, question mark. And oh, by the way,
no
Lance
question
Williams.
mark. No question
No
mark.
question mark. All caps. Bolded.
Exclamation point. No question mark.
Lance Williams, by the way, tackled Taysom Hill a couple times, or at least tried to, right, in 2012 against BYU back in the day. Okay, scrum half. There's a signing there. We'll get to it later, but the returner, Michael Baska, guy on the rise.
Baska's a guy that really found some form, figured out the system and what he needed to do to be a factor and to be a significant factor week in and week out, and led this Warriors team in some tight situations to some crucial scores. We saw what a difference maker he could be in that final game before our season got cut short in Seattle, a guy that's turning into a very vocal leader on this team.
That's scrum half. To fly half, Hagen Schulte is back. The bomb of a leg from the German before an injury. He is good to go, though. Jared Whippy is healthy. Danny Giannoskoli, an MLR draft pick of that position.
Another guy that really is just looking for minutes. Not your traditional route to rugby in Danny. A guy that really has a lot to learn. But in what he's already able to do on a rugby field, you'd be foolish to think that he hadn't been playing rugby for more than a couple of years. I mean, a guy that has just naturally taken to the game like a duck to water and has found a home here at the Utah Warriors, and I think he'll be here for a while.
Okay, on the wings, Tanata Lauti coming off a double shoulder surgery. Hopefully he's good. Led MLR and tries a couple of years ago. And James Vaifale, and then a pretty big signing at that position as well, which we'll get to.
So it's great to have Tanata back. I know he's been really anxious as well to get back, and this took a lot longer than he thought. But you're talking about a guy that found the gain line every single time he touched the ball, a guy that has a nose for scoring, that can put himself in the right position and attack and makes good decisions. A young guy still on the wing with a lot to learn, but also a lot to prove. He should put a chip on his shoulder and have a lot to play for this year.
The roster's out. The announcement's out. I'm just delaying the drama here for the 6 new signings. We'll get to it in a second. Okay, the centers, Tyler Fisher, Dom Toluonu, and Calvin Whiting, Josh Whippy.
A lot of decisions to make in the centers here. I thought this was the biggest question mark we had on the entire team, was who's playing where in the centers. Calvin Whiting kind of solidified himself as a legitimate option there. Whether he plays at 12 or whether he plays at 13 has yet to be seen, but a guy that, you know, has played at every level, got his cap with the Eagles now, and has that international experience as well as playing at the under-20 side, high school championships and all that. Calvin, a very exciting guy to watch all the way across the field, but don't take your eyes off of somebody like Dom. I was able to play with this guy a couple of times at the club level with Park City Haggis. This kid can be electric. There's a lot of reason to be excited about somebody. And then, you know, somebody like Tyler, who really has a high ceiling and can be a physical presence and that shutdown kind of defender, playing in that 13 position, even, where he could be a factor and really solidify a place. There's a lot of competition for those 2 center spots on this Warriors squad.
Yeah, Dom's a great example of what the Warriors have done really well, which is develop someone who's locally, shows up at a camp, might be off the radar a little bit, but guess what? This guy played last year. He's going to play this year, and he's going to be a Major League Rugby player, part of that development and pathway that the Warriors are providing, which is one of the best, if not the best, in the league right now.
You want to talk about a guy that, you know, got on the radar by playing in high school. A couple of coaches started talking about him. He kind of didn't have a whole lot of interest, and then decided, you know what? I missed the game. I'm going to come back out and play. And because of the community structure we have here in Utah that the Warriors can now tap into, he was able to find a place with a couple of the men's Premier Division teams, ended up going and playing Division II ball with Haggis, and now came out to the Combine, obviously turned some heads, had some great run-outs with the select squad, and just kept increasing and increasing and increasing his ability and his knowledge. You know, it's really a sign of what's to come with that Pathways program in the Utah Warriors. There's a direct link between our community and your boots being on that field come kickoff time now.
I think it's special, and not everyone's doing this. There are other teams in the league that have that, but Utah is just a special place, and it has a special rugby connection, obviously, with some of the high schools and the culture and Polynesian culture locally, and obviously Highland United and many others, right? And you mentioned Haggis and local thing. This is all funneling into the Warriors. Like, there is an end game here that has not been there previous to the last year or two.
Well, and I think full credit to Brandon Sparks. That's why he was brought in here. On top of all of his other rugby knowledge, it's his ability to build a community around a club. And that's really what this is about. We doubled down on it when we signed Chris Latham, because he was all about not just building a professional team, but building a club and community where you want to surround yourself with those people and know that When you're 3, 4, 5, and 6 years old and you're first exposed to the game, you maybe come out to your first Warriors game and you see those guys on the field and they become your first sporting heroes, to picking up the ball for the first time, to making your first starting 15, to making your first club team, to now you've got a chance to be on the Warriors. And it's a clear and obvious set path. And the only thing keeping you off the field is how hard you're willing to work for it. And I think Dom is a great example of that, as well as guys like Calvin, who played high school ball here. Guys like Saia, who is, a legend here almost in that club rugby scene, and for all the minutes that he's played, and, all the old Flag Day games that we played out in West Valley in years gone by. A guy that just people know there is a real community building around this club that makes it different than anything else that's going on in MLR.
If you could watch the Salt Lake Bees and the LA Angels play around the same time and watch Mike Trout before he gets to the Angels, that's what the selects are doing, right? If you're watching the selects, you're going to see the future of Utah Warriors rugby, which is very exciting. Okay, let's finish up with fullback. 2 MLR draft picks in this spot, so we'll see what kind of versatility Warriors have here. John Power and Derek Ellingson. Derek Ellingson, the first pick from the Warriors in the draft, 3rd overall.
That back three was constantly in flux the entire season. I don't think we started the same back three for a single game all the way through the early part of 2020. And it's really something that I know the coaches want to work on and getting somebody set. And I think bringing in young talent who are eager and aggressive, who have that raw ability and can now grow into these positions with some of these veteran leaders and some of these mentors that we've got now signed to the squad, you're going to see some electricity come out of some of these young guys.
Okay, we've told you about the returners. And if the Warriors only fielded that team, I think they'd still be really competitive in this league. But we'll tell you the 6 signees in just a moment. But first, follow all of our social media channels, Facebook, IG, Twitter, Warriors Rugby. Subscribe to our email list on our website, warriorsrugby.com. Stay up to date on Dub Nation, all things Utah Warriors, signees, news, jerseys, swag. The schedule will eventually come out, right? Hang out with us on our social media channels. Okay, let's discuss these 6 signees. And oh my gosh, they bring in some amazing talent. They add to an already awesome group of young selects, that pathway, good returners who have been here a couple years developing, and now you bring in some real meat here. So Australian fly half Rodney Iona, a guy that has won a championship recently, made the game-winning penalty kick out of Australia.
Talk about a guy that, international player with Samoa, a guy that's played through some early struggles in his career, but now getting into his late 20s, has that experience at 5/8, at fly half is what we call it now, at fly half, to be able to understand what's happening in front of him and put the players around him in a position to score a lot of points. A guy that's got a great boot and he's not afraid to use it. A guy that's not afraid to keep the ball in hand and run all over the park. He's played a lot in the wing. He's played a lot, of course, there at fly half. This is a guy that could be electric for this team.
Okay, Aston for Tuin, lock, flanker, South African. Always good to have a Pro 14 guy.
Always good to have a Pro 14 guy, a guy that came up through the Blue Bulls and the Curry Cup, big physical player. This is the kind of guy that's going to get in and do the hard work. This is the kind of guy that could be if you're familiar with the modern All Blacks, like a Brody Retallick type of player. He's going to be an enforcer in and around the breakdown. 5 meters in from the tackle, this guy's presence is going to be a shadow lurking over ball carriers. You're going to have to know where he is at all times, because he's not just a second row player. He's got the wingspan and the movement to be able to get out in the open field. And like a Samu Manoa, if we want to find a comparison in an American player, this guy can really move around the field, and with the ball in hand, he can chew up some meters pretty quickly.
Okay, 3rd and final international signing. Matt Dalton can play lock or flanker. This is a young Irishman.
A young Irishman. He looks like he's 40 in that picture, doesn't he? Look at the size of that guy. Like, he fills up the whole screen. Anybody that's come through that Irish system, he played for the Ireland under-20 team. He's gone through all those coaching clinics. A guy with a high rugby IQ that's going to be able to bring that experience and that talent level to the Utah Warriors.
Okay, let's get to the 3 domestic signings. Let's start with Fraser Hurst, a scrum half from Canada. This guy's got a lot of upside.
This is you're adding speed to a squad that already has it in buckets full with somebody like Hurst. He has incredible feet. He knows how to create space, his own space with his feet, and a guy that could really up the tempo of the attack that the Utah Warriors are able to put on the field.
This next one is just when I was told that the Warriors were going to sign this guy, oh my gosh, I got excited. Mikey Teo is a Utah Warrior. This is an Eagle, not only in 15s and 7s. This guy can score at any moment on any part of the field.
Mikey, an electrifying talent. Look, and a magnetic personality as well. The kind of guy you want in your locker room and you want representing your ball club. I don't know how we got him. I don't know what spell was cast, what voodoo doll was out, whatever it was. I don't care what it was. He's in the right red and black jersey now. And he's here in Utah where he should be. And I think he's going to find a home and score a lot of tries for this team. We got burnt by a Mikey Teo try a couple of years ago when San Diego came to town. And now it's our turn to use this guy as an absolute weapon. You want to talk about a player that is going to hit the field running and be able to do incredible things from his first touch of the ball. Mikey Teo's it.
His braids are going to be flying all over Zions Bank. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. Okay, and last but not least, Paul Mullen. Some people consider him the best prop in American rugby.
He might be one of the best props in any kind of rugby. A guy that is from Ireland originally. He's got American heritage, spent his college years here, capped Eagle, played in a World Cup, a guy that knows what it takes to play at a elite level in the front row in a 60, 70, 80th minute ball game and still be able to perform and do what needs to be done. This guy is an absolute leader on and off the field. So exciting to have a guy like this. And he's incredibly versatile too, because he can play either side of the front row, doesn't have a preference at tight head or loose head really. And just the kind of guy you should get excited about coming to your team. He brings some veteran leadership to this Utah Warriors squad.
Absolutely. And we are so excited about Paul Mullen. Let's bring him on to Dub Nation right now to get to know him a little bit better. All right, let's welcome one of the newest members of the Utah Warriors to the crew. Some people think he's the best prop in America. He is Paul Mullen. Paul, great to have you on the Warriors, and welcome to Dub Nation.
Thanks for having me, lads. Yeah, thank you.
So, obviously, you played all over the world. You played with the Eagles. You played for Ireland U20. You're from Ireland. You've been with the Sabercats and the Legion. Why the Utah Warriors in 2021?
Jesus, well, that's a good question. But why not the Utah Warriors is what I suppose I could argue. No, listen, I mean, when we did play Utah, I suppose we were blown away, at least as the Sabercats. We didn't get a chance with the Legion because of COVID, but sure, life goes on. When we played with the Sabercats, like the support there was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it was kind of blew me away, but anyway. And Utah, it's a lovely spot. I remember when we were there with the kind of captain's run and stuff, I was like, well, this place is quite nice. I was never in Utah before. And basically when the opportunity came, I kind of hopped on it. And kind of a long story short.
Now talk about being, with this front row now. This gives Coach Latham an opportunity to run an all-international level front row with you and Tu and Gus, Franco Vandenberg, a lot of guys with a lot of international experience. I mean, that's got to feel good coming in, whether you play the tight head side or the loose head side, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as a prop, I suppose your bread and butter is the scrum, and I mean the Sean's probably they'll tell you, but I mean I love the scrum. So I'm very excited. Yeah, very excited. Can't wait.
Now, you're kind of an old school prop as far as that goes too, because a lot of these new guys just want to get out and run, but you don't mind doing the old dirty work. And, we've seen that through obviously your test caps and through the World Cup. What was it like playing through that World Cup and going against some pretty serious heavy hitters all the way through pool play?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic experience. To get to play against these teams. England went on to the final. So to be up against those lads was a fantastic experience, and hopefully I can take some of that with me and give it a shot. Use it in the with the Warriors. So I mean, it was a fantastic, as I said, it was a great experience. And I'm just to be honest now, after this COVID stuff, I'm just mad to get out in the field again.
So are we.
Too much kind of training and stuff, and not, I suppose you could say, not enough scrums. I miss them.
More scrums, more training. It's going to all happen soon with Paul Mullen. We're talking to him. So I watched a documentary about you. It was about 20 minutes. For those who don't kind of know your story, you're from a little island in Ireland. What was life like growing up? And you made your way to Texas A&M, and you got a master's, and now you're an Eagle. And now you're playing with the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like, I wouldn't know any different. For me, growing up on the island was normal. But it's, I suppose, for anybody that doesn't know, the island's quite small. It's 9 miles long, 3 miles wide, and about 800 people. And it's off the west coast of Ireland. It's called the Aran Islands. So I mean, yeah, it was great, kind of growing up as a kid because you had a lot of freedom. But maybe when I was kind of 18 there, I suppose the island got a bit small. I was trying to take a bit of a leap, and it was quite a big leap. I ended up in Galveston, Texas. Yeah, so the Texas A&M Galveston, got my marine engineering degree, and went back and got a master's. And after that, now I had enough school, and I fortunately the MLR kicked off, and I got picked up by the Sabercats. So I played there for a couple of years, and suppose kind of and I got picked up by the Eagles as well. So I mean, it's been a great old journey, and yeah, so far so good. Now looking forward to going to Utah.
Did you think there was going to be quite as much of you riding your bike around the island in that documentary as they ended up showing?
So I missed the first part.
I said, did you think there was going to be as much of you riding your bike and pedaling your bike around the island as they showed in the documentary?
Well, like, it's fun. Like, I mean, yeah, the island's so small that this was, you'd say, the main form of transport is a bicycle. But I mean, they came up for 3 days, and I didn't know what they're going to do, and I said, lads, kind of have at it. And sure, I mean, we were just after lockdown, so it's kind of do whatever you want to do. But yeah, no, I wasn't expecting so much bicycles, but sure, I suppose the rest of it didn't make the cut.
You got to know some of your a former Warrior in Polisique with the Eagles, and one of the assistant coaches, one of the Sean Davies, who was the scrum half, a starter there. What's your experience been like with those guys who are in the Warrior family?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, everybody knows, so we'll start with Paul. Yeah, sure. Like, when Paul's sure, he's a beast, and a great name as well. So we got on. No, Paul's a great man. We had a great time, and I even talked to him about before coming out to the Warriors. And Sean, I was only in the, let's say, USA setup since 2018. Was June 2018 is when I started off. So Sean was like the scrum half at the time. So get to play with Sean, and maybe having Sean as a coach now might be it'd be interesting. It'd be something different. But sure, no, looking forward to it. And then of course we'd that was Sean Davies. Sean Pittman was the forwards coach with the Eagles. So I'd be quite familiar with them. Yeah. So looking forward to it. As I said, just looking forward to hit the ground running now and get some rugby going again. It's been too long.
And I heard you had to learn the national anthem in the dressing room right before a game. Does that happen?
Well, that was way back in the Junior World Trophy under 20. So, geez, I wouldn't. No, that was a long time ago. That was when I was 2011 actually. So I have it nailed now. If you want me to sing it out, I'd go for it, but I wouldn't want to deafen or harm the listeners, scare them maybe.
Well, that's awesome. We're so excited to have you, Paul, with the Warriors. And let's actually bring in one of the current players, one of the forwards that you'll be working with, Bailey Wilson, who is just a future superstar, not only with the Warriors, but in this league. So, Bailey, welcome to the Dub Nation. Paul Mullen is a massive asset to this group, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just see, the size of him. I think he's, you just look at him and he looks like he's just ready to scrum. So, no, it's going to be a great asset to have. And I'm looking forward to working with him once the season starts and gets underway. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
And Bailey, tell us a little bit about what Paul can expect with Warriors culture, this community, and this team.
Yeah, I think you're going to kind of expect with the community around here, literally like everyone around here loves us. A lot of the people around here are going to, come up to you and just start talking to you. And then they find out you're with the Warriors and, they're glad to have you representing their state. So it's really awesome experience. I think in the US, you can't really find that many other places other than here in Utah. So it's great to have Warriors Nation with us.
Well, and I know, Bailey, you came up through, playing high school here with United and going through and playing college. I mean, you're as much a local guy as anything. Talk about what that's like, and now combining all of that local experience with having that international caliber quality. Because obviously you play second row, flanker. You're going to spend a lot of time with, your shoulders on his hips there as you pack down scrums, depending on what side of the field you're on. To have somebody with that kind of experience, knowing that, you can beat and go toe-to-toe with anybody in the scrum and match up from the set piece.
Yeah, definitely. Just gives you the confidence going into every set piece, that you've got a good foundation there. So really looking forward to what we can, put together and sort of the chemistry and the culture we can build this upcoming season. So it's going to be great.
Paul, do you need any restaurant recommendations from Bailey or anything like that?
Yeah, listen, I was, go on, sure. I mean, as I said, the spots, it's new to me, so I'm happy to go. There's a lot of restaurants to try out, and as a prop, I have to, you have to hold the scrum as well. So I suppose I like it. What I like now is a portion with big, a restaurant with big portions. That's
well, speaking of big portions, I know we've got another member of the Warriors engine room from the Type 5, a guy that's played a lot of minutes for the Utah Warriors. Saia Uhila is here with us as well. And I know a guy that you want to talk about adding some weight to the forward pack and the amount of bodies that you can move. Saia, how are you, buddy?
Unmute your mic. This is the quietest you'll ever be, Saia. This is the quietest you'll ever be. How's it going, brother?
Hey, good, man. Good to see you all, man. It's been a long time.
Also, the face of the Utah Warriors. He's got a budding modeling career now with Major League Rugby, Saia, with the jersey announced. Well done on that, mate.
Oh, shoot.
Saia, tell us more about what we can expect, what you've seen of Paul Mullen and what you expect him to contribute to this group.
Yeah, man, I'm excited already. I mean, just listening to the guy, he loves scrumming. I mean, I guess it's a dream come true for me to have somebody that loves scrumming like myself. I mean, I'll be in his back 100%. I mean, yeah, it's very exciting to have somebody that has that mentality, because there's not very many people who love scrumming, and I know it's, the weights and stuff that comes with it. But hey, I'm one of those that loves scrumming. Look forward to work with him and learn from him, man. I'm very excited.
Now, I know you've seen the forward pack change and develop in your time here, Saia, from day one, where that scrum wasn't always something that we could be proud of here in Utah. And we spent a lot of time going backwards to this last year. We saw before the season was cut off the power and the stability that we were able to have in the forward pack. And now you add somebody with a quality like Paul at whether he plays tight head or loose head. I imagine tight head's your preferred side, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah. Listen, I like tight head, but sure, listen, I'm happy to go anywhere. Just throw me into a scrum there, and we'll figure it out somehow. That's yeah.
Paul just wants to play rugby, Saia. That's the long and the short of it is, when can we play rugby? But talk real quick about how exciting it is now to know that you can put that pride in being a forward and knowing you can pack down a scrum with anybody, Saia.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I know this past few seasons and stuff, we have a little bit of difficulties and stuff with our scrumming and stuff, but I feel like it has to start with the culture of the Warriors and stuff. And now, we kind of established that culture this past season. Unlucky that it was canceled, but you guys can tell the guys was just come out hungry and, willing to put in the work and stuff. And I mean, adding a guy like Paul to the pack, it's even more exciting, because he comes in with that mentality, just hungry, just want to get in there and get it going. I mean, I'm very excited. I mean, I haven't met the guy, but I'm super excited to work with him. So
Saia, Paul Saia.
That's what it is. Yeah. And listen, I love rugby for so many reasons. One of them is that you blend all these cultures into this beautiful game, right? So, Paul, what Irish things are you going to bring to the Utah Warriors? Because we haven't had too many Irish dudes on the Warriors, but now we have you in.
Well, I was thinking, I was like, there might be one similarity. Is like, there's a lot of Islanders in Utah and in the Warriors. And I was thinking, sure, I'm a bit of an Islander myself. Granted, I'm not from the Pacific Islands, but maybe the Atlantic, we might have something in common, So we'll see.
Have you ever had kava, Paul?
I have actually, yeah. When we were down in Fiji there, and sure might, yeah.
Well, look, Saia, we'll have to get him around the kava bucket with the boys and get him broken. He wants to be an Islander. We'll bring him in with the Island boys and show him a good time, all right?
Yeah, man. We'll get some kava and we'll go out and get some food. Maybe roast a pig when the weather's agreed to it,
Yeah.
Now we're talking, huh?
Yeah, I'm always up for that. So.
Well, awesome. This has been really fun. Saia, we appreciate you coming in. Bailey a moment ago. And, of course, Paul, we're so excited to have you on the Utah Warriors. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, lads. Yep.
Great conversation with those guys, Paul and Saia and Bailey. Great to have them all on the team. This is going to be fun. That engine room is going to be awesome. Okay, starting this weekend, the Warriors will be running their Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions. Clearance sales on all 2020 merch, 50% off. What? We can do that? 8-game holiday bundle coming up. 8 2021 home games with the beanie for $58. That's a steal. Keep your eye out. Take advantage of these great deals. Okay.
Have you seen all the new kit, by the way?
Yes.
Unbelievable. We got the best kit in the MLR, Utah. Dub Nation. You're going to the sharpest looking kit in MLR, period.
Get it. Go to Warriors Rugby and get your swag. Let's go. Okay. Let's bring in the 3 coaches now, and let's talk with Chris Latham and Sean Davies and Sean Pittman about the returners and about these 6 signings. All right, great to have the coaching staff on. The team is announced. We're breaking it down on Dub Nation here. So great to have you guys. Of course, the head coach, Chris Latham, the backs coach, Sean Davies, my old roommate. I have to always mention it because we're homies. We go way back. And the forwards coach, Sean Pittman. Great to have you guys. Thanks for being on Dub Nation.
Thank you.
Hey, good to be
Happy
here.
to be here.
Okay, we're stoked about this roster, so let's talk about some of the new signings. Of course, the team that's coming back is excellent as well. Let's start with a few of these guys, the international guys, the 3. So Rodney Iona, an Australian fly half. Chris, this is a nice signing. You always have to have a good end and a guy that's versatile to play all over the field.
Yeah, the good thing about Rodney is he's a guy that's just coming off some really good form here in Australia in the Sydney Club Rugby, where they've just won the premiership with Gordon. So, he was very instrumental in winning that. He played 5'8", kicks goals, is a player that can really steer a team around the field, and he's got a really good kicking game. And I guess he's a real student of the game, a real thinker of the game. So, we really saw showcase that, I guess, in the Sydney Club Rugby. He was one of the form players across the whole team, the whole premiership. So he's in form, he's fit, and he's a guy that's been in and around that professional type player for a long time, but hasn't really cracked it. And he's got to an age now where he's finally got that hunger and desire and drive to really make it. So that's held him back a little bit in previous years, and he's now found that, and he's now wanting to make sure that he comes over there and really continues that form that he had in the Sydney Club competition, and and can really start to build and continue to build what was done in last year with the Warriors.
And Sean Davies, always have good to have a guy like Rodney around the pitch, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Just to reiterate what Chris said there, it's really nice to have the rugby IQ coming in. I think he brings a lot of versatility, being able to cover a bunch of positions. And I think the way we want to play next year with a lot of variety is going to help out a ton with that, and just being vocal and moving the big boys around the field and playing, like Chris said, playing in the right position. So I think he's going to be a great signing for us. And like I said, he's really going to help the way we want to play.
Okay, next guy asking for Tuin, a lock and flanker, Sean Pittman. This guy's a player.
Yeah, no, very, 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 very much. And we're very much looking forward to having him as part of our team. I mean, he's such an athletic lock. And, he does play a little back row as well. So he provides us a lot of height in the lineout, which is something we want to consistently have so we can keep a high percentage and, use it as kind of continuing that as our backbone to some of our launch plays that we have on attack.
Chris, what do you think of the addition of Aston to the engine room there?
Yeah, I think along with that height in the second row, he also brings that South African toughness about him. He's a very strong ball runner. He's, he loves to play. Although, Pitts has just pointed out his mobility around the field, but he also brings that toughness of wanting to, hit that flat crash ball and drive through contact, and he has that ability then to offload. So. When I saw this kid playing, I was very, very impressed with the fact that his next effort, it wasn't just an effort and lie there and be happy with it. It was up on your feet and ready for the next involvement. So that was something that really impressed me and caught my eye. So I really can't wait to see him on the field and work with our guys, especially when that was a part of our focus.
Okay, and the last international signing, Matt Dalton, lock flanker, a young Irishman ready to rock. Sean Pittman, what do you think?
Well, I think he's such a great addition. I mean, again, just like Ashton, he's very versatile with the ability to play lock and back row, and his mobility around the park is just going to add to our ability to play the attractive brand of rugby that we want to really achieve. And set piece wise, coming from Ireland, he's going to be top notch, especially some of the feedback that we've had from his coaches. And very similar to Ashton, he's pretty hard around the park with his carries and his defensive work rate.
All right. Well, let's move into some of these the new domestic signings. Of course, the big one to be excited about, Latha. Let's first talk about Paul Mullen. You want to talk about a leader on and off the field and a guy in your front row now with World Cup experience and a solid front rower. You've got competition all the way across that front row with somebody like Paul coming in now.
Yeah, and again, with these guys, their record speaks for themselves. They're international players. They're players that have played at the highest level in some of the biggest games. That goes without saying. But for me, it's about complementing the players around him of the guys that have been there in previous years. It's about making sure that we have, guys like Alex Tucci, Franco, Angus, our new, even younger guys like Elijah Hayes that's playing with the selects. It's complementing those guys that, take out Elijah, that have done the work before. And now we're bringing in a guy that can just add that value, add that something that shows them what the next level is about. Because in all honesty, if we're going to be serious about winning a premiership and going into the finals, whilst we did make a really good positive step forward, we need to go another few levels. We need to jump up. And to do that, you have to bring in experienced players. You have to bring in players that have been there, done that, and are happy to pass that on. And Paul's happy to do that. Speaking with Paul, he has that experience. He has the love of the game and the want to pass on that knowledge, and that's what we need to go to those next levels. So again, set aside the performances. Yes, great player, has been there, done it all. But for me, it's about complementing the players that we've been bringing along, that have been part of the Warriors team for a few years now and have put the hard yards in and have craved to be at a position to go to another level. And these guys complement that.
So, Pitty, talk about the competition now. Obviously, a guy that you know really well, having played through the Eagles program, you've coached with him, talk about the depth that this gives you now, not only to have a mentor for somebody at that tight head position, for somebody like Alex Tucci, but the competition for who's going to start on that tight head side and who's going to move to the loose head side with, 3, 4, maybe even 5 really good props that you've got in competition now.
No, it's awesome, and I'm very excited for it. Paul is the ultimate professional. I mean, he comes to it with his notebook in. He's writing all his notes. He's, dots his I's, crosses his T's, which is really nice for Elijah Hayes, and we have Angus as well to help coach Elijah along, that self-coach as well. But it's going to be challenging. It's going to be a challenging environment for everybody. I think it's just with the ability to select players, because we have such an array of different specialties, especially when we start to play and we're picking people, for scrummaging, but also other aspects of the field. So, it's going to be, I can very much see it will change from game to game, specifically on what style of game we're trying to play. Yeah.
Now let's go to Sean Davies, since this is a position you played in a new signing. Fraser Hurst, Canadian national team under-20 guy, a guy that played the same position you do, a great addition in somebody that can really get the ball moving quickly for the Utah Warriors.
Yeah, again, I think with Fraser, it's bloody awesome for one that we're getting these younger guys. I really enjoy the fact that we're bringing these younger guys and get them, because his ceiling is massive. And if we can get him anywhere near that ceiling, we're going to be going pretty well here. So I think with him and Bax, they're really going to complement each other because they are different. Fraser's, he's got a Stevens background. He's a shifty little bugger. And we can get the most out of him, which I believe we can. He'll be an awesome, awesome player in the MLR.
You're talking about a guy with really quick feet, a guy that's played a lot of time on the outside. Chris, reminds me a lot of a young Australian fullback that I know that spent a lot of time running down the sideline. How is that to have somebody that's dynamic like that you can kind of teach that trade to, and how to be a general on the field and to direct traffic? You're talking about a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience now. No,
but then that's why we've got the great Sean Davies in our coaching team is to pass on that, to pass on that legacy. And again, when we came into this, this adventure of coming in and coaching the Warriors, that was and the exciting part was listening to Saia talk about the culture and moving forward and guys buying in. That comes down to, obviously Sean Davies and Sean Pittman and that experience and bringing guys up and living that. So again, having a guy like Fraser come in and being able to be coached by Sean and get to know those things, accompanied with something that I'm sure Sean wish he did have, was that genuine jet shoe.
We're a very different kind of halfback, but
not different physical abilities. It's style of play, guys. Style of play.
That's right. So again, having that ability with that speed and being able to be taught that and have that experience, being able to be brought in, that's invaluable. That is things where we know, and as Sean just said, if we can get him to that cap, and I know we will because we've got the people behind him to get him there, that speed of ball is lightning. The quicker we can get that ball away from the ruck and we can move it away, the more threat that our nines are at running and engaging the defenders and having them worry about the nine, the more space we're going to create on the outside. So again, another great compliment to the players around. And as Sean has already mentioned, a guy like Michael Basker, who came on, was such a very young guy, but yet burst onto the scene. I know it was only very brief, but, we could all just rub our hands together and thinking, geez, we can't wait till at least round 6 and 7. This guy's going to be amazing. And unfortunately, we didn't get there. So, and then you look at a guy like Danny Christensen, who has been playing every game so far for the selects, and the amount that he's come on during those selects games has been phenomenal. So again, it's not just about these guys coming in and being the stars. It's about making sure that the guys that have done the job, we're creating that environment that it's competitive. We're creating an environment where we know that these guys are going to lift and we're going to be putting pressure on everyone. So again, it's about these guys coming in, complementing what we've done and raising the bar to another level.
A rising tide raises all ships, right? Which brings us to the last piece of talent that we're adding here. Look at Shawnee's already wringing his hands because you know what a weapon you've got in the experience of somebody like Mikey Teo coming in at wing and fullback, a guy that absolutely can be a dagger for you on attack. We got burnt 2 years ago by him here at home where he stole a try at I think it was the 85th minute or something like that we were in a tight game. A guy that's played in World Cups, obviously a capped Eagle, a guy that's played through the 7 system. Shawnee, I can tell you're excited about this, buddy.
Yeah, the good thing about Mikey Teo is that he's an unbelievable player, but I honestly think that he's nowhere near his ceiling. I think a lot of teams haven't used Mikey to his best of his ability, and I think in the pattern we want to play and the shape we want to play, the guy will go looking for the ball anywhere. He's just the kind of player who wants the ball. He wants it in his hand, and he wants to make everyone around him look good. So I think for Marty to come to the Utah Warriors is an unbelievable pickup, and for me, he is the signing for us. I think he's the difference between winning the league or not. I think if we can get Marty in the best shape that we can, and again, he's going to find the ball. We don't have to get him the ball, but we will. And he'll be doing unbelievable things for us this season.
He's shown he's got a knack for getting himself in the attack, no matter where in the line he inserts him. We've seen that over and over again. Chris, how excited were you when you found out that a guy like Mikey was available and that you could bring him into the Warriors? That's got to be just absolutely just meat on the bone for you to chomp at.
Yeah, well, I can say this now because we signed him and it's too late, but I was just saying throw the checkbook wherever we need to do to get him. But in all honesty, in teams you need certain things. You need certain aspects to be successful. And one of those crucial aspects of a game is you need X factor. You need players that when they have the ball, everyone just holds their breath and says, what's going to happen? Something's going to happen. And he is one of those guys. And you want those guys to be hungry for the ball. You can have players that just sit out there and wait. And when they get the ball, magic happens. But then you sit there and go, can it happen again? We want it again and we want it again, but it doesn't. With this guy, with Mikey, man, it just continually happens for 80 minutes every game. And that's, for me, as a back three player, that's what excites me. And, to have that power, the size, athleticism, all in one body, that's a triple treat there. And, and for him to be part of this Warriors team, I'd have to be running toe-in-toe with the most exciting coach with Sean here on this one. So, it excites me. But again, I've got to keep coming back to this point. If you look like a guy like Mikey Teo, being able to pass that type of work rate, pass that type of knowledge onto a guy like Josh Whippy, who, again, is a guy. And we saw it in those games, especially the game we had in Las Vegas where he was able to set up some pretty good tries and the game against Seattle as well. Every time Josh Whippy touches the ball, something special happens. But it's a matter of Josh Whippy realising that he needs to touch the ball more and more and more. So have a guy like Mike Teo teach him that and make him realise that. That's going to bring a Josh Whippy. It's going to bring a James or a young guy that we're bringing in, a Derek. That's going to bring them to another level as well, very fast, and that's what we need.
Absolutely. Gosh, can we play tomorrow? I don't want to wait until March. The roster's out. We're breaking this down. This has been awesome. Chris, just wanted to get your thought, and then we'll get a final thought from the Shans as well. You guys should have your own podcast, I think, within Dub Nation called the Shans. But anyway, we'll work on that. On the returning guys as well. A lot of talent with that group. You inject these new six. This is going to be a team that I think can compete, right?
100%. And this was our focus the entire time in the off-season and how we were recruiting. It was about complementing what we've already got. It wasn't about bringing in and dragging in any international player that we possibly could for the sake of having big names at a club. It was about making sure that the players that we were bringing in the positions that we felt were going to best complement, that were best going to bring the players around them in those positions and in others forward and bringing that out of them. And again, you've got young guys like Dom, James. I've already mentioned Josh and Jared Whippy. These guys.
Somebody like Tanata Lauti coming back and getting healthy to be able to run with Mikey.
Tanata, yes, again, Tanata, a very young player that's been around, yet just needs to learn, the ins and outs of rugby and what it takes. And so you've got guys like that. Then you've got, guys like in the forwards with Bailey Wilson. You've spoken to him already. There's a kid that's going to play for the USA. I've got true belief in that. If it's not this year, it'll be the following year. He will be in the home World Cup if he continues to grow how he is. And yet now we've got players around him that have been at that level, can show him what it takes to get to that level. You know, you've got returning players. Saia, you saw his excitement. He's been there since day one. You know, he's the grandfather of the team, the old statesman, you know, however you want to put it. You know, he's a guy that, you know, you'd think would be just sitting back going, oh, here comes some new other guys, just, you know, whatever. But and being relaxed about it, we've got him now excited. We've got him wanting to hurry up and get back and be part of what we're creating. And that, you know, that was the whole point of bringing these new players in, is to get that excitement, to get the energy levels there, but more importantly, to get the belief that we will make the finals.
Okay, Sean Davies and Pittman, your thoughts on the returning guys?
Yeah, naturally. No, I'm bloody excited, especially that if you think about the 5 games that we had last year, if you look at a boy like Tyler Fisher, for instance, from game 1 to game 5, his increase and just his ability was massive, and I think he still has so far to go. And that's all the players we have here. The ceiling is just unbelievable. We just, as coaches, I mean, it's kind of stressful, but the pressure's on us to get the most out of them, because if we do, the talent that's going to be on the field behind us is going to be unbelievable. So again, if you look at the centers, you got Colvin, you got Tyler, you got Dom, you got so many players that we can just get the most out of, and I believe we can with the personnel we have. We're going to have a really enjoyable season, and the Warriors fans have something to really look forward to.
No, I very much agree. I think we built it. Yeah. No, we're just transitioning, guys. I very much agree with Sean and Chris. I think we have a wonderful foundation here. And Chris made the point of it being these guys are coming in to add to the team, of course. But we have a wonderful foundation that really set us up for success this year. The guys that are coming in, you know, only add to it. But, you know, we have leadership in Saia. We have Bailey, we have you know, Thomas, we have all these guys. I mean, there's a long list of guys that have laid that foundation for us last year, who are only growing and will only be better next year. So it will be very interesting to see where some of the guys, you know, that 5th week, you know, of the season, where they finish there, and then where they start. You know, it's going to be bigger. You know, they're going to be better. So, you know, those players will be different, and they'll be better, and we'll have a stronger team from the base. And now we add some guys, these really nice signings that add to the team in a very positive way. We're gonna be a very strong and difficult team at times to play with.
And I think also, last thing, I think the awesome part about us being the Utah Warriors is that between now and the last game of next season, we could unearth some incredible talent in Utah that no one's seen yet, because that's just how Utah is. So I think that people can get really excited about the local talent coming through with the select and the various other things we're doing too. So
yeah, all the camps and academies and the flex games. It's fun to see the development. Absolutely. So thanks for taking the time, guys. Chris, all the way from Australia, the Sean's here in Utah. We appreciate you jumping on Dub Nation.
Pleasure. Thank you.
See you, mate.
All right. See you, mate.
Man, you can tell, Banksy, these guys are excited about these signings and this returning team. This is going to be awesome.
And with good reason. The foundation that they have to build on, the things that Coach Latham was able to do with a very shortened 2020 season. We saw how far the forward pack came and how fierce they became as they closed out that game in Seattle against the reigning MLR champions. It was all forward work, and the backs in attack as well, with Sean Davies leading the charge there as coach, and now adding some serious firepower to that lineup on both accounts. It's going to be exciting to see who that first starting 15 is.
For that Seattle game, by the way, I was in a mall in Vegas watching it on my phone in the middle of everywhere, just yelling loud in the 90th minute when the Warriors got it done. That was so exciting. Cannot wait to see the Warriors in action again. Okay, we encourage you to continue to check out the full roster in action for 2021. You can get season tickets on warriorsrugby.com. You're going to want to get your season tickets. They're going fast. Check it out on warriorsrugby.com. Well, Banksy, we're back We talked to some amazing people: Chris Latham, Sean Davies, Sean Pittman, Bailey Wilson, Saia Uhila, Paul Mullen. It's gonna be hard to top this show. This is one of the best ones we've ever done.
So many great things. Paul, an absolute character. I can't wait to sit down and talk more with him and hear some of the stories he's got to tell, as well as some of these guys coming in that have played around the country and around the world. We got a lot to be excited about, Dub Nation.
Okay, just a couple of months until the season. We will be coming to you every couple of weeks. We'll get to every week during the season. We are very excited about it. For Banksy, I'm Jarom, and everyone associated with Dub Nation, go Warriors.